Networking and marketing made simple is for you, the business owner who has a product, a service, or a message that you believe in. My name is Scott Aaron, and each week we'll take a behind-the-scenes look into the real-world marketing and networking tactics and strategies for getting what you have in front of you to a lot more people. Thanks for spending time with me, and now let's get started. So super excited to announce that Spotify for Podcasters is actually sponsoring this episode. And if you've ever thought about having a podcast, Spotify has a platform that lets you create one, and it's super easy. And then you can actually distribute it everywhere you want for people to listen to and even earn money. So Spotify for Podcasters lets you record, edit, right from your phone or your computer, which is actually how I started. So no matter what your setup's like, you can start creating it today. Then you can stream it out and distribute it to Spotify and everywhere else podcasts are heard. Now, the other cool thing is that video podcasts are also available on Spotify. And if you want to take the conversations with your fans to the next level and the people that are listening, you can do Q&A and you can do polls to get people talking. And with Spotify for Podcasters, you can earn money a variety of ways, including ads like this, podcast subscriptions, and so much more. And again, it's totally free with no catch. And ever since I discovered Spotify for Podcasters, formerly Anchor, it's been such a game changer. I'm approaching 500,000 listens. I have multiple people subscribing to my bonus episodes, and it's taken my business to the next level, and it could take yours as well. So again, check out Spotify for Podcasters today. It's completely free, and don't wait any longer. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another dual episode. This is another husband and wife episode with my beautiful co-host, Nancy.
Hello.
So, as we always do, we like talking about very relevant and important topics around what people can do to prevent failure. And the title of today's episode is the silent business killer. And it's the truth. Nancy and I, for those that don't know, we have our own mastermind called the Expert Authority Mastermind. It's a year-long group coaching mastermind hybrid program. And part of in that program, we have a book club. And Sarah, so if she's listening, hey, Sarah Khan, she's amazing. She's kind of taken the lead on choosing a book of the month for us to read. And this month, at the time that you are listening to this, the month of June in 2023, we are reading an amazing book called The War of Art. Now, backstory on this book, it was originally written for writers. It came out in 2002, it's almost 21 years ago. And it was originally created for writers, people that had writer blocks, they had a book, they were almost done. But since then, it's been adopted by entrepreneurs because creatives, whether you're a coach, a consultant, a course creator, you host a mastermind, a lot of the things that you can learn about and read in this book are applicable to all of what I just mentioned. And the big thing that we are currently taking away, Nancy's read it, I'm in the process of reading it. We were listening to it on the way to our cousin's graduation. And we just kept nodding our head the entire car ride because this book talked about one word and one word only. And that word is resistance. So when we talk about the silent business killer is the resistance that you bring to your business. So Nance, let's dive into how important it is for people to understand what resistance is. And I know that you found a great quote from this book that you wanted to share as well. But what can we do? And we're going to give you some tips, 3 tips in specific of what you can do to befriend resistance and overcome resistance so you can achieve all those things in your business. So Nance, what's on your mind?
Yeah. So just like Scott said, I mean, this book keeps appearing in my life. And it was years ago that I first purchased the book, that I heard on a podcast episode that Marie Forleo was doing. And someone had asked her, what is the most impactful book that you've ever read? And this was one that she was talking about. And she said that it really, really helped her and really shaped her mindset around her business and being an entrepreneur and so many other things. And so, of course, I'm like, I got to check this out. So it did not disappoint. The book, The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield, was originally written for writers. And so over the years, it doesn't just help writers, it helps artists, it helps, entrepreneurs. It's been really read by so many different types of people because it's so applicable in so many areas. But anyway, the quote that I'm going to read is, in fact, I'm going to read a couple quotes, kind of sprinkle them out throughout this episode to give you a little sneak peek. But I could not recommend this book enough because it is the thing that we struggle with, right? We all struggle with in all different things. So like Scott said, it's a resistance. Another word for the resistance is self-sabotage, right? It's actually shooting ourselves in the foot. It's actually not doing certain things, putting things off, not making things a priority. So anyway, so the quote that I'll read first is, so quote, the most pernicious aspect of procrastination is that it can become a habit. We don't just put off our lives today, we put them off till our deathbed. Never forget this very moment we can change our lives. There never was a moment and never will be when we are without the power to alter our destiny. This second, we can turn the tables on resistance. This second, we can sit down and do our work. Ooh. Right. So again, think of how many people, in fact, I know Les Brown even says it, just to throw out another quote, most of the dreams, and all the most amazing businesses and ideas and things like that end up in the graveyard, in the cemetery, buried with the people who had all those dreams, but never took action and really lived and did those things. So keep in mind, right, this thing is very real and all of us are faced with a lot of challenges. And, we hear it all the time, people who want to build businesses and want to do things and want to put themselves out there. And then when it comes to actually doing the work, they procrastinate, they are busy, right? They put things off, they say yes to other things and put, their dreams and their hopes and their destiny on the back burner. So Scott and I wanted to give you 3 different tips to really obviously embrace and kind of deal with this, right? We know it's something that we're having to face, and building a business, just like creating art and putting yourself out there, is never going to be easy. I mean, so many people online make it look like super simple and, oh yeah, no big deal. You can just do this and, yep. No, it is hard. And I always joke, I mean, it's almost like this energetic, weird thing. It's like this badge of courage you have to earn and you've got to get through. And I remember when I first started my first business, I felt it was almost like someone kept beating me down. It was like literally, I felt like the rug time after time after time was being pulled out from underneath of me. And I felt so driven and so drawn to running my business because I didn't want to go back to work and do the things that I was doing. I didn't want to work for someone else. I wanted it so bad. And so every time something happened, I got right back up and I kept fighting the fight and I kept taking the bruises and I kept pushing through, and again, I'm so grateful for where we are, but the battle is never over. It's always just continuing. And so I'm just so grateful that I did push through, and that's Scott, even in his own business and everything that he has done, we've battled and pushed through. So the first tip that we'll share with you that can really help, with this resistance and staying consistent, very simple, right? It's actually creating systems in your business. Okay. And I wanted to read another quote that kind of goes along with this a little bit is, again, from the book by Stephen Pressfield. The professional has learned that success, like happiness, comes as a byproduct of work. The professional concentrates on the work and allows rewards to come or not come, whatever they like. right? So you're doing the things, right? Not necessarily, expecting a certain outcome, but doing them, actually putting the pen to paper, putting the, all the dreams and the things that you said you were going to do to action. So creating systems in your business is incredibly important. Creating systems helps create that consistency. And I want all of you who are listening to think about, where are the gaps in your business? Where are those areas where you just keep getting frustrated time after time again because it's lacking a routine or a system? If you're not generating sales for your business, well, what kinds of things are you doing on a day-to-day basis to grow your audience and to actually generate those leads? If you keep putting something off that needs to be done in your business, what do you expect? So think about those systems that you can create for your business.
The big thing that I always think about, and Nancy and I talk about this often, is that, when certain people are not achieving certain things in their business, I said this to Nancy today, actually. I'm like, what do these people do all day? What are they doing all day?
Yep.
Systems go and they run so deep with your business, meaning your system is the process that you have with everything. That could be your social media strategy. That could be your lead gen strategy. It could be your marketing strategy. You need to have a system in place. Every single one of us has the same 24 hours in a day. Every single one of us. Now, everyone's 24 hours looks differently. Some people have kids, some people don't. Some people have a 9 to 5 that they have to attend prior to working on their side business. Some people don't. You have to prioritize not only your schedule, but the systems that you need to implement to get your business moving in the right direction. Barack Obama shared a quote in a speech one time that Nancy had this said to her, that excuses are tools for the incompetent. And Barack Obama said this in a speech because he knew that obviously he couldn't use excuses as a crutch. So when you start thinking about that, my excuses are the tools that I'm using for my incompetence, how do you ever expect to get to anywhere you want to be in your business? You're not. Everyone has something going on. You guys have been hearing the cancer journey that my father is going on right now. Nancy will tell you it's been jarring for our family. There's a lot of running around between all of us, but we're making it work. We're fitting it in between everything that we have going on. We are prioritizing, and we have a system now. Like, I have a system in place to help my dad the days that I can be there to help him. We have to make a priority of those things, and we got to stop using our excuses. So every time you use an excuse, you're giving yourself a hall pass of why you're not succeeding. Oh, it'll be next month or next year. And, life is short. And I think we know this, but I know we all know this, but this is my honest to God feeling, Nancy, people don't believe it. People do not believe that life is short. People do not believe that life can be taken away from them tomorrow. They don't, until something bad happens, right?
Yep.
And that mirror is turned around. They're like, oh shit, now I got to really get moving now. Why are you going to wait for something bad to happen for you to start living the life that you want?
100%. Like, I think about that in the book. They talk about it. Why does the woman get diagnosed with cancer and think she only has a year to live? And it's then that she quits her job, that she's unhappy, and that she starts doing something that she absolutely loves. And she builds this business or starts this nonprofit and then begins living a life, that is truly purposeful and living in her purpose. Why does it take that? I always give the story. I mean, there's so many times that this has happened. I mean, even with myself, whenever I was so, in fact, I love, because there's another thing. I can't find the quote exactly, but it says resistance is greatest, I think, even at the end, right? Where you're almost complete something. And so for me, that really came to play with my book. I was writing my book and I just kept putting it aside, and I just didn't finish it. It took me actually getting cancer and diagnosed with kidney cancer to say, you know what the hell am I doing? Like, stop it. Like, if I keep procrastinating and I keep putting this thing that's almost done on the shelf and not, like, finishing it, it's never going to be finished. And so it took me that little kick in the butt to finally get the darn thing done. And now it's done. And I can't wait to write my second one and my third one, right? I'm not done. So that is just one of those things, and I also use the example. In fact, my first business mentor, this was years ago when I started my first business, Jessie, she actually worked. So she was a professor at a local university, and she had worked at the Department of Labor for almost over 30 years. And she told me that around the time of 9/11, right after 9/11 had happened, tons of people showed up in the unemployment, office, and tons of people were looking for jobs. And they were so upset, they were so distraught, and they were just shaken. Obviously such a terrible event, but their job was now gone. She said, fast forward 3, 4, 5, 6 months from then, she said she had connected with a lot of them and they were the happiest they've ever been in their life. These people got thrown out of the nest into a different situation, into a different job, into a different career, and they were happier for it. It's something that they would have never done themselves. And it took this awful, terrible, horrific thing to happen to help them to see that. Right. So I want all of you guys thinking about that. What are the things that you're putting off? What are those things that you are getting ready to get ready? What are those dreams, those things that you keep putting off to tomorrow? Right. So I want you guys to really think about that, because if you want it and if you want to get there, it is not going to be easy. There's going to be so much resistance. And that brings us to tip number 2. Okay. And the only way that I can put this is, like, really, I mean, we already talked about, right, the systems. It's 2 is being unshakable, right? Staying on track. Because here's the thing, when we are kind of thrown this inspiration, this something, I mean, it's really magical, I think, honestly, right? It's all of our destiny, what we're driven to do and what we're looking to really build and create. Well, everybody thinks that it's going to be this magical thing where, oh, well, it's just something I'm passionate about. And, if it feels right, it's going to be great and it's going to be easy. That can't be further from the truth. In fact, it's a harder uphill climb. In fact, here's the quote, another quote from the book. Rule of thumb: the more important a call or action is to our soul's evolution, the resistance we feel toward pursuing it. So the more important, right, it is towards our evolution as a person and as our soul, we will experience more resistance. What is the common belief, right? The common belief and the false belief is that, oh, things are just going to be so easy. And if this is the business I was meant to build, it's going to be so smooth sailing. Guys, it is not. In fact, sometimes it's harder. I think about whenever I started, my cleaning business. This is the first entrepreneurial venture that I went on. I read about it. I started, taking courses. I met with people at the Small Business Administration. I did all this work, but I was scratching and clawing and working my butt off just to get my first client. I mean, I remember even at one point, my family, we were out there papering the neighborhood with flyers. And that's actually how we got our first client. And then it grew from there, and then it grew from there, and it snowballed. But if I would have let those first couple months deter me and gotten down on myself and gone, you know what am I doing? I shouldn't even be doing this. I mean, did I have those thoughts? Absolutely. I was a puddle on the floor at times. I was depressed. I was scared. I was really scared because, I needed to make a certain amount of money. I had to pay my mortgage. I had to pay my bills. If you want it bad enough, these things will happen, right? You are going to experience this resistance. You are going to experience the self-sabotage. You are going to experience all these little things that happen to us to keep us small. And we have got to push through. We have got to become unshakable. And we've got to brush things off and carry on and stay consistent and move forward no matter what, if we really want.
The only way to create the compounded effect in anything that we're doing is to be consistent. And here's the big thing before we move on to number 3. There is never going to be a time when you are growing your business that something is not going to be on your plate. And it's funny, Nancy and I talk to people all the time when they are deliberating about joining one of our programs. Now's not the best time. When's the next time you're going to be opening up the doors? We can tell them all day long when the next time we're opening the doors, but to think 5 months from now, something's going to be different. Like it's so funny. Not all the time, but I would say most of the time when someone says to you, now's not the best time, maybe the next time you open the doors, something will absolutely be on your plate 5 months from now. You have to create the best time to do something. You have to create those opportunities. You have to create what it is that you want. If you let fear and resistance stand in your way, I love the quote by Steve Harvey. And for those that, he has a show and he was giving this analogy, and he does after they tape Family Feud, he always gives like a little bit of a sermon. And he was sharing all these stories about friends of his that have become successful. One has a landscaping business. The other one started a car wash service. And he said, the one differentiating factor between my successful friends from my unsuccessful friends is that they took the leap. He goes, they took the leap not knowing if the parachute that they had strapped to their back would ever open.
Mm.
And he goes, sometimes that parachute doesn't open. And you know what? You tumble down that hill. You get scrapes, you get bumps, you get bruises, you get broken bones. But he goes, you know what? You learn lessons from all of that and it makes you better. No one's looking for, everybody wants this like smooth, easy pass, right? They just want to hit the easy button. And they have gobs of money in their account. You know the adage, if you build it, they will come. There is some truth to that, but mostly not. You have to put so many things in place. But I always go back to the movie Failure to Launch, right? If you continue to fail to launch anything that you're doing, you can't expect yourself to achieve anything whatsoever. And that brings us to the third point. And it's time blocking or prioritizing your time. I know that sounds so simple and maybe minute to a lot of people that may be listening to this, but I guarantee you, the people that are most successful are the ones that are prioritizing their time.
100%.
Our members, our students know that if they email us over the weekend, they will not be hearing back from us till Monday. Once Friday at 5 hits, even though we have an online business, the virtual doors are closed to our business until Monday morning at 10 a.m. The fact is, Nancy and I have prioritized our time. We time block everything. Now, we are not so stringent like today, for example. We had our cousin Maddie's high school graduation, followed by our niece's birthday party. It was just a little get together, but we had to prioritize because we have 3 dogs, right? So we had to figure out the schedule of letting them out, making sure they're good to go, driving the hour and 15 minutes to the graduation party, hanging out for an hour and a half to 2 hours, driving an hour back to Jersey to go have ice cream cake with our niece, hanging out there for an hour, and then coming back here. And again, it's all about prioritizing. We always make time what is most important to us. We always make time for that. And blocking out your schedule. You know, Nancy and I have said this multiple times on episodes. We only work 3 days a week. And I wish we could shake people. People really, I feel people don't believe that we work 3 days a week. We do. I swear to God, every single Wednesday, I am with my dad. I'm at his condo or I'm at the hospital. If he's in there getting treatment, we're hanging out. I go and grab Taylor from school. I'm home. Day's done. Same thing with Fridays. I'll go visit my dad in the morning or play golf with Jason. I'll get 9 holes in. Nancy, she's getting her hair done. She may be having lunch with a friend. You know, she's doing stuff around the house. Sometimes we do some yard work. We have prioritized our day and our schedule the way that we want it to be. And the fact of the matter is that all of these things, this wall of resistance that so many people build around what they want to do, you're self-sabotaging. You're creating these walls of resistance. I shared this with Nancy, something that I every single LinkedIn workshop that I do, like my free workshops, I have a slide that says lean into the fear. And then I have everyone affirm in the chat, fear is my friend. You have to become one with fear. You have to become one with resistance. This is not us going on some sort of tangent, but the person that is responsible for your failure or success is the same person that looks back at you in the mirror each day. You yourself is responsible for your wins and your losses. You yourself is responsible if you're going to have a wonderful business that you love or one that's just putting along, you know, you got a flat tire. I can't express to you guys enough the importance of prioritizing your business, prioritizing your time, prioritizing your days. If you don't prioritize your business, how are you ever going to take it seriously? It's time that we all buck up and realize there is so much abundance out there. There is so much money and impact and legacy to be left. You're just playing small. I don't care. Like, you can have all the excuses in the world. You can have the craziest schedule. You can have 18,000 kids. Someone has done it. Someone has done it with 12 kids. Someone has done it working. Like, they're immobilized. They can only, like, I saw this inspirational story about this girl who was on she was on her first drive to her first volleyball practice, her senior year of high school. She got into a car accident and she was paralyzed from the neck down. And she did not give up. She actually launched her own entrepreneurial business. And she works from home. And she's making a difference. Remember, excuses are tools for the incompetent. So you have to ask yourself every single time you say to someone, oh, I'm busy right now. Oh, I don't have time for that. Is that an excuse? Or are you going to turn those excuses into reasons of why you want to succeed in what it is that you're looking to do?
Yep. And I'm going to drop another quote because this is so applicable to what you're talking about right now, is the sign of the amateur is over glorification of and preoccupation with the mystery. The professional shuts up. She doesn't talk about it. She does her work. So again, like Scott said, right? You know, how many times do we hear, oh, well, I couldn't because I was busy. Oh, I couldn't, you know, and again, it kind of reminds me of, I'm spouting off quotes today, but it reminds me of that other one where instead of saying, oh, I'm busy or I don't have time, replace it with, it's not a priority. Instead, if you freaking want this,
how would that feel, right? How does that feel when you say this is not a priority? Oh, do you want to go do this? It's not that I'm busy. Oh, it's not a priority right now.
It's like the movie He's Just Not That Into You. You know, it's like if you wanted it bad enough, or if, you know, in that movie, it was like, you know, if a guy really likes you, you will know, right? They'll make every opportunity to make sure that you know. And if you're questioning it or you're not sure, then it's probably not meant to be, right? So think about your business. Are you treating it like something that you want so bad Do you want to do everything that you can to grow this business? I mean, again, I was driving in the car, and again, I just am so filled with so much gratitude right now because, again, I look around and I see how our life is and what we've built. And I really, truly believe, and for everybody listening, I believe that if you stay focused and you work really hard, it could be within a year, your life could look completely different.
Completely different.
I mean, seriously, you can be making the money that
No,
you
look at Teresa.
You could be working the time,
In one quarter, Teresa made more money in one quarter of this year than she did in all of 2022.
yeah, one of our clients.
Because she decided.
Yeah.
She made a decision. She goes, I'm going to do the work. And again, this is us saying to all of you that we believe in each and every one of you. We can't want it more than you.
Nope. And enough, right? The amateurs and the people out there who are new are the ones who are saying, oh, this is so hard, or, oh, I don't have time for this, or, oh, I'm so busy, or, oh, I didn't get to that because of this. Like, you keep putting this off. Again,
it's only going to get harder.
It's like your destiny. Again, you're putting it on the back burner. Fast forward. I mean, life is so short, right? Time is the one thing that we cannot get back. We can't go back in time and decide to do. No, we can't. And again, I go back to just that great feeling of gratitude, because I think about, again, it was not some quick snap of the finger thing that we did to get us to where we are. It was lots of hard work, and it was consistent. It was systems. It was blocking out the time. It was making it a priority. Years, right? To get to a certain point. And then we just kept setting goals for ourselves. And one of our goals, right, was to work 3 days a week. Sometimes it almost brings me to tears when I get to wake up in the morning and I get to live the life that I have always wanted to, and I get to run the business, and I get to teach, and I get to train, and I get to, learn every single day. And seriously, it blows my mind that this was waiting for me all along. But do you know what? If I would have given up, if I wouldn't have made it a priority, if I did not peel myself off the floor and karate kick all the bills and keep pushing through, right? And dealing with the fear and the anxiety and the stress that comes with earning this, I wouldn't be here. And who knows what I would be doing.
I'm going to finish with this. I saw this video clip the other day, and the simple message was, it was a health and wellness video, and the simple message was, you're going to look back and wish that you were in the shape and the health that you actually are today. So, like right now, what you see in the mirror is the healthiest you're going to be right now, because 10 years is going to go by. I'm going to be 54 in 10 years, and I'm still going to be looking great. But but right now, I look the best that I've ever looked in my life where it is right now. And I have to embrace it. We all have to embrace where we are right now. We have such sympathy and empathy for people because we know how difficult it is, but putting it off is only going to make it more difficult. It's not going to get any easier the longer that you wait. The longer you wait, the harder it's going to be. And this is the honest truth, and I'm just going to say it, the less likely it's going to happen. It's the truth. You're going to run out of time. Something's going to happen. You're going to run out of time. So do you want to run out of time, or do you want to finally push through that wall of resistance and say, you know what, I'm going to do whatever it is that I need to do to make this work, because not only does this vision matter the most to me, my life matters the most to me. Because if you're not happy with where you are, you're not a tree, move. You're not, just move. So we wanted to leave you with that. We both highly, highly recommend you read this book with us this month. You can let us know what you thought. It's called The War of Art. It's by Stephen Patterson. Is that the
Stephen Pressfield?
Stephen Pressfield. Again, this book was written in 2002. Wonderful book. He's got over 25,000 reviews on Amazon. It's just, read it. And it's time we all just buck up. We stop. We lay the excuses to the side. We start moving forward. We chip away little by little. And that's the other thing that I have such gratitude for, the fact that Nancy and I have really paced ourselves. We haven't tried to rush the process. We haven't tried to get rich quick, right? We've really done the work. We've really put in the time, and it's showing right now. We've made those necessary investments of the things that we need to make to create the life that we have, and we've proved it. And if the concept has been proven, it means you can do it too, and we can show you how. So we just want to thank everyone for tuning in today. Please leave us ratings and reviews on each of our podcasts: Entrepreneur Rescue Mission for Nancy, Networking and Marketing Made Simple for myself, both on Spotify, iTunes, and anywhere where you can get your podcast. So everyone, thank you so much for checking us out today. Love and gratitude, and we'll talk to you next time. Thank you so much again for checking out today's episode. And if you are listening through iTunes, Spotify, wherever you are, please leave me a rating and review. Let me know what you loved, what you would like to see improved, or ideas you have for future episodes. And if you are interested in taking your business to the next level, don't hesitate to go to my website, www.scottaaron.net, where you can schedule a free discovery call with me, where I can learn more about you, your business, what you're struggling with, and how we can work together. And don't forget to check out my wife, Nancy, and mine, our free community on Facebook called LinkedIn Leads for Life. We would love to see you in there. Have a great rest of your day. And thank you everyone for your support. Grateful for each and every one of you.